Battle of the Challenges with Vincent Cloud.
David Lauer, what the fuck did we just watch?
Let's just dive into it. Plenty of people will be exposed as hypocrites and pussies throughout this entire thing, and producers will be exposed as being full of shit, in my opinion. At the bar, Wes tells Leroy that there is an insurance policy, and that insurance policy is to save Jay and Jenna to be the last people to go into elimination round. Whether it be Wes and Teresa win this next challenge, or Leroy and Nia, or Jordan and Sarah, what they should do is throw in Jay and Jenna. Wes's reasoning is that they're rookies. If Wes wants to get you all into a final and not have Jay and Jenna there, who is the easy layup, like that's basically their nickname in this entire challenge. Wes is trying to say, hey, we're all friends, let's go to the final together. Jordan and Sarah, they just turn. They're just, no. There's no way. So Jordan goes up to Wes, we're not going to make the deal. And Wes is like, that is not a smart decision. And Jordan, what's his retort? Well, look at my past challenges. I am not known for making the smart decision. We're not going to go with the insurance policy. Hey, Leroy, I got some bad news, but Jordan doesn't want to do the thing. He's going to win, and he's going to throw anyone he wants in the last elimination. And Leroy's like, oh, okay, well, let the best man win. And he winks. One of the biggest winks I've ever seen. And Wes is like, wink. Because the idea is, let's just fucking throw him then. If he doesn't want to be with us in the final and let a rookie team who does not deserve the money, who does not deserve to be on TV anymore, you know what I mean? Why is Jenna on TV? She has no passion for the challenges. She has no desire to win. Jay wants to win, but he knows.
What confused me about the whole thing was Jordan saying, no, Wes, I don't want to go along with you and do whatever you say. Okay, that's fine if you want to do that. Make your own decisions. But if you're going to do that, Leroy and Wes are already, they're number one. So if you're Jordan and you're saying, no, you're not going to work with them, you need to immediately go to Jay and be like, hey, we're going to work together. Because otherwise, Jordan's just leaving us all stranded on an island. He's alienating Wes, which in turn alienates him against Leroy, and he's not even going up to Jay and doing anything to keep them together. So now you're just alone. Questionable strategy there. He was just being stubborn, and I understand that he doesn't want to just go along with Wes because Wes has been orchestrating everything. He's been the smart power player. It really seems like that there's Wes, and everyone is just like, oh yes, he's the best guy out there, and they're all just trying to cling to him so he can carry them to the finals. Well, Jordan is too stubborn, and he knows that that's going on, and he doesn't want to go along with it, which I understand, but then you have to have a backup plan and do something else.
And Wes calls him out on this. Listen, you don't want to go against me and Teresa in a final, because mostly I'm the only guy here that's ever won, and I've done it twice. And it shows a cool flashback between his historical wins.
With CT and then on his own.
And I've done it with a partner, by myself, I'm going to do it again. And Jordan's like, congratulations, that was 10 years ago. And guess what? You're not the same roided up Wes as you used to be.
Then they cut to a shot of a guy who's clearly not on steroids. He just happens to work out. But then later in the episode, we see Zach and Bananas, who are questionably on performance-enhancing drugs. They do look like they belong in a WWE ring. I mean, obviously.
Jay gets a text message, a clue from TJ, and it says, meet me at the Dome tonight. They head to the Dome. TJ's standing there, and he's, well, typically, throughout history, if you lose an elimination round, you are out. That is fair. That is cut, dry, and even. Well, not this season. So they bring out Zach and John A. And Zach
was
and John
eliminated last episode.
The last time we saw them, they were in a dome. So let's open up the next episode with them in a dome again. The difference is that now they have to go against Bananas and Nani, who have been winning Exiles, but this time is to re-enter the house. This is bullshit because TJ said this is the last Battle of the Exiled, which means, spoiler alert, Wes and Teresa and Leroy and Nia do not get a second chance. Here comes Bananas and Nani, and Bananas is, oh, Wes, what's up with the red face, man? Looks like someone just walked over your grave. And one thing you might notice is that Bananas hates Wes. They might be rivals, but Bananas has attacked Wes far more than Wes has ever attacked Bananas. He just hates Wes.
And immediately, from the second he got back, he wasn't civil at all. Like, even later, when Wes confronts Bananas after this, Bananas can't be civil at all, can't even try.
Wes came in, before he could even say anything, Bananas is like, shut up. Just go back. Leave.
Mm-hmm.
Leave. Like, that's what he was saying. And even Wes was like, you don't have to be like this. Bananas like, no, fuck you. Fuck you, dude. You sent me in against my best friend, who, by the way, I'm going to screw over later in this episode. I'm going to throw the mission so Jordan and Sarah can win, and the blood won't be on my hands. I'm not going to vote in my best friend. I'm going to let Jordan vote in my best friend.
Mm-hmm.
Bananas loves to say Wes plays the most shadiest game of all time. They are one and the same. They play the exact same game, but Bananas is always just saying, like, look at this freckled motherfucker, this ginger piece of shit.
Bananas is just a dick about everything and completely is taking all these cheap shots, which just makes him an unlikable person.
Like I said, he's the 35-year-old frat boy.
The 35-year-old, 19-year-old.
We've jumped ahead so much. Bananas and Nani, they come in against Zach and Janae, and Jordan. I'm going to root for them because Bananas and I don't have the best record, but nothing unites people more than a common enemy, Wes. Which, by the way, Jordan made this common enemy this episode. Final Exile Elimination, where each team will have 20 minutes they're attached to a rope, and they have to weave their way through a jungle gym and make as many knots as possible, make it as difficult to untie. And then once 20 minutes is up, they have to exchange ropes, and then they have to untie their opponents' knots.
I really like this idea of a challenge because you had to be physical and be able to climb up through the structure and jump down. It's not only physical, but it was also mental, the strategy of how you're going to do it, plus all the unwinding of it. I thought it was a very level playing field, where it didn't give either team a distinct advantage.
Throughout this thing, Janae and Zach, they're working pretty good at the very beginning. She's acting as the eyes, or the brain anyways, and Zach is just the mule. He just wraps the rope around him, and he just follows whatever Janae is saying. But eventually, they lose. Bananas and Nani win. They're back in the house, and Zach is like, yeah, well, we could have won. But Janae stopped doing her role, and that's why we're lost.
Every time. Anytime he comes up short in anything, it's always pass the blame.
Throughout this final Exile Dome, I was completely torn. I do not want Bananas and Nani to win and come back, yet I cannot stand Zach. Every single time I see him and Janae in the same scene together, I'm like, Janae, run, run!
Going into this thinking Zach versus Bananas, I don't like either of them, but I know if Bananas gets back into the house, then all these alliances are going to change. Like, you just knew that all that shit was going to happen because of his beef with Wes. If Zach goes back, then we're kind of just rewinding an episode of back to last week. Yeah. So it was like, okay, then it's just kind of a reset, and nothing really changes. I was very disappointed that Bananas got back because I knew shit in the house was going to go crazy, and it did.
Producers are allowed to do anything they want. They're Vince McMahon. They get final say. And some people are trying to say that the Exile was invented strictly for Bananas to come back. Bananas wasn't eliminated until episode 5. So there was no way to tell. They could have predicted that Nani would eventually bring him down, which he did.
They did know that there's a huge rivalry between Wes and Bananas. So they know if either Wes or Bananas gets knocked out, they're both so good that if they were in that loser's bracket, they are the odds-on favorite to come back and win. It played out exactly how the producers wanted it to play out.
The original theory, at least from my camp anyways, was that the Exile winners would continue to take on the losers, and then at the very end, join the final 3 teams in the final. Like, right before they're gonna go to the final, you didn't know this, guys, but there was a secret losers bracket, and now bringing in this is my guess, it probably would have been Bananas and Nani.
What this screams to me is the original plan was probably, yeah, we're going to have the losers bracket. They will come back and they'll be in the final. But then the producers started thinking about it. They're like, wait, no, we have to bring them back a couple weeks prior because we want to get more ratings for the TV show. So we're just going to do this earlier. We'll send them back into the house rather than having this loser bracket team come into the final. They just wanted to get them on TV sooner.
Why not? Because this is the moment where Wes is at the top of his powers, and they're like, let's just throw him in now. Because they know goddamn well that everyone's going to turn on Wes at this point. Because everyone sucks Bananas' dick.
This is the only season I've watched, and I don't understand why everyone just bows down to him. It's like a cult mentality where they just like, yeah, we need to go with him too. It's weird because once Bananas was gone, then they all just did it towards Wes, and they just went along with Wes, and they were fine with it, other than Jordan. And then all of a sudden Bananas is back, and all of a sudden like Wes means nothing. They had no allegiance at all. Nobody has a backbone. Nobody. Leroy, especially.
As soon as Leroy sits down with Bananas after he wins his elimination round, he's like, after you were eliminated, I felt naked. I felt alone. What was I supposed to do? I slept with Wes. No. Before he could even finish the sentence, Bananas like, if you're going to say that you made alliance with Wes, I'm going to fucking throw up. That piece of shit would sell his own mother's shoes or some shit. Like, this motherfucker would make a deal with the devil. And Leroy's like, what do you want me to say? He is the power in this house. And Bananas like, not anymore. I'm back. And in a way, he was right. Because as soon as he opens his mouth and says, Leroy, no, it's you and me. Leroy's like, okay, well then...
The only reason Bananas is the power once he came back is because Leroy was just, okay, yeah, I'm back with you now. If he would have stuck with Wes, then Bananas is still... has to actually play the game and not just have everyone on his side so he's cool as a cucumber and good to go.
Wes comes to a table with Leroy, Jordan, and Bananas. They're all chummy.
3 people that you would never catch me hanging out with. There's 3 unlikable people. And the one guy who's likable is Leroy, but the way he's playing this game, he's just trying to cling on to anyone to get to the final.
So the next day, before the challenge starts, Sarah is talking to Bananas. So, if Wes loses, you're not giving him Jay and Jenna. Bananas like, I don't give a fuck. Well, we don't want him to come back. I mean, who knows? They might come and take you out or Leroy out. Bananas really doesn't say anything.
Leroy is his best buddy, but he knows if he wants to get rid of Wes, he has to sacrifice Leroy.
And he lets Nani do the talking. Nani says, all right, how about we let you guys win? You and Jordan win. And you can vote whoever the fuck you want. And Bananas, in my heart of hearts, I can't vote in Leroy and Naya. But I'll let someone else vote them in. And this is the perfect segue into a flashback cut to episode 5. This is the episode right before you came in. Bananas is lecturing Zach about what it is to be in an alliance. Not saying my name is half of the battle of being in an alliance. It's also sticking your neck out for your friend, no matter what, to keep them out of harm's way.
Not only do you need to help them when you can, you need to protect them from others. You know, not only are you not attacking them, but you're also protecting them. It's 2 ways.
He was yelling at Leroy, you're in alliance with Wes? Well, turns out, I mean, what did Wes offer Leroy? Let's all go to the finals. What is Bananas offering Leroy? He's just yelling at him for aligning with Wes, when secretly he's like, I'm going to throw you in against Wes.
Leroy would have been way better off to stick with Wes.
Yeah. Because let's face it, Leroy needs someone because he can't do this by himself. He is not the face of the challenge. Alright, let's move on to the actual challenge of the episode. This is a challenge called Wrecking Ball. This is the one and only challenge this entire season where it's like, we can gang up on a team. Every single challenge was, okay, you guys go first. You run this course. If you win, awesome. If you lose, too bad for you. This is where, who do you want to go into the dome?
It was totally gang up on anyone you want. So, Bananas being back and him having all his cult following. It's basically
Or-
whoever has an alliance, you're basically voting twice. You're getting to choose who you're going to get rid of in the challenge, and then you're going to choose, once you win that finale or that challenge, then you're going to choose who you're going to throw against them. You're being able to pick twice rather than have one team that you pick and then one team that lost.
So it's called Wrecking Ball. You're going to be elevated 30 feet above the water. You each have like 2 volleyballs to throw at the opponent. And there's also like this, what is it, a body bag or what is it called?
Like a punching bag.
Like a punching bag that you could push to.
Hopefully there's not a body inside of it, but we never know.
Naya, she's horrified to death. She's scared of heights. She decides to just jump off before the challenge even starts.
There was not even an attempt to try.
Naya, she jumps off, and immediately everyone goes for Wes and Teresa. It's just so rigged.
And the way they set it up too, just the whole structure that's dangling above the water, you're not even next to your teammate. The teams are all split up, so you're not even next to your partner. Yep. So that means that you have an enemy on both sides of you. First it was Teresa, and she just got ganged up on right next to him, just boom, gone.
Bananas takes this punching bag, and Teresa's right next to him. Mm-hmm. So throws it right into her. She falls down. And then next, Jordan is right next to Wes, takes a ball, rams it right into his head, and he starts flailing around. Wes falls. Now Wes and Teresa, as predicted by the challengers, producers, the Lord himself, they are in the dome.
Yep. And now Wes, he was going to get ganged up on, and he was going to get knocked off, but he should have stayed on there longer. He did just get blindsided and fell off, which he should have been a little more aware. But even if he was, and that ball didn't knock him off, it was a matter of time. Because being up there, every single person was going to gun for him.
At this point, people are falling down, and Leroy gets hit in the head. He's like, oh, fuck this. And he jumps. I'm comfortable because I know that Bananas and Jordan want to throw in Jay and Jenna. So we're good. And Naya sees this and she's like, oh, what the fuck? She didn't even compete in the challenge.
They were a one-person team.
Finally, it's down to Bananas, Jordan, and Jenna. Bananas throws...
There was a gust of wind. Did you not see, the trees were blowing in the background? Whoa! And then he fell backward.
Yeah. He's like, I don't want the blood on my hands.
And that was a smart play by him, I think.
Bananas knows... Before this challenge even starts, the plan is to let Jordan and Sarah win because he knows they're not going to throw him in. They're not going to throw the rookies in. It's going to be Leroy and Naya, his boy. Mm-hmm. The guy he was pissed about going against because he's the one guy in the house he cares about. That's what he threw in Wes's face. He's like, you're a piece of shit because you threw me in against my best friend. Now, we're at the Power Couple dinner. Jordan and Sarah were given the win. They call him Bananas and Nani, who gave them that win, let's be honest. Mm-hmm. Let's be honest. They're just like, Bananas, we're fine. We're good. We're glad you're back. So Jordan and Sarah are fine bringing in Bananas into a final. The man who's been in 7 finals in his career and have won 5 of them.
See, if they had any brains, you would put Wes versus Bananas. There's 2 favorites in this competition. Yep. Get rid of one of them. Because if you go Wes versus Leroy, well, what if Wes wins and Wes is back? Then you still have those 2 competitors are still there.
And if Jordan really wants to be as badass as he says he is, why not give the fans what they want? Are you not entertained? Put Bananas versus Wes in an elimination round. What do you want Bananas in there where he's won 5 out of his 7 finals? Bananas has only lost 2. That's arithmetic for you. He lost his very first one. He's a rookie, right? You're allowed to lose your first one. It's fine. But the only other time he's ever lost was by Wes and CT. It took other veteran champions to take out this powerhouse. And Jordan and Sarah want him in the final.
So that way, they make sure they get to the final so they can get 2nd or 3rd.
Yeah.
They're not even trying to win.
The opening of this episode was Sarah saying, Wes is great businessman with getting followers, but he's not trying to let me win.
I like Sarah. I think she's good. But this was definitely a misstep and not a smart plan, not thought out at all. Jordan, I can't stand him at all. And he does stupid stuff, and this is another thing that is stupid.
So they take off, and they call up Leroy and Nia. And right away, Jordan's like, "Hey, we're gonna have to put you in. We're not gonna put Bananas and Nani. We're not gonna put in the rookies. You're gonna have to go in." And Leroy's like, "I can't believe it. I'm going in."
And that's what Leroy's completely lacking. Is any foresight in what would happen if I do this and what would happen if I do that. He can't make decisions like that and think of what's going to happen down the line. And the challenge is like a game of chess. You need to be thinking 2 to 3 to 4 moves ahead.
He just leaves. He's like, "No, this is bullshit." Nia wants to stay and plead her case. No, she doesn't want to plead her case. She wants to play the sympathy card. She's like, "Jordan, I thought we were friends. Like, so you don't respect me as a person or a competitor or anything like that?" And Jordan has had it at this point. "Nia, you beat the shit out of me on our real world season. You beat the shit out of Riley and Avery, and you were a horrible human being. You know, like violent, really violent." So I could understand why Jordan's like, "I'm sick of this. Like, Nia tries to make me seem like this, and so does Wes by turning Teresa against me." So I couldn't fault him too much.
Yeah, I've only been watching from this season, and I had never seen this side of Nia before. As we see, there is the huge side to Nia that I had no idea, and this all came out of nowhere to me.
At deliberations, they just straight up throw in Leroy and Nia. Nia's calling out bullshit. She told Leroy right then and there that if Jordan is keeping Bananas safe, that means Bananas did not fight for you, Leroy. I mean, I'm sure Leroy didn't catch it because Nia ended up screaming at everyone else.
She went for everybody, and that's what I liked. She wasn't just picking out one person. She went for Bananas, too.
Especially, I am the one person in the house that's not going to suck on Johnny Bananas dingleberries. No, fuck you. You come in from a loser's round. You beat scrubs to get back into this game.
I love that line.
As angry and belligerent as she was spitting out some truth. And Bananas, I'm sorry, you're the champ, but I took you out last time, didn't I? And Nani, before Bananas could even say anything, Nani's like, "I never said I was the champ." She's just throwing herself into the argument.
Well, she should have just been laying back saying nothing.
They're screaming at each other's face. They're talking about how it's basically a slut off. And the whole time, it was one of the funniest shots. Bananas is like...
I fucking hated Bananas that entire episode, and then I saw him with his fist in his mouth with that look like, "Oh shit, this is good." I just expected him to suddenly have a bowl of popcorn and just be like, "Oh, this is great."
It was one of the greatest shots.
Nia is completely right to be pissed off at them because they were the team that eliminated them. But then they get thrown back into it, and then now they're going to be eliminated by the team they eliminated.
Wes and Teresa, they've controlled 95% of the game. And now they're going to get thrown in against Leroy and Nia, and neither one of them gets a second chance. But before we even get to see who wins, what do, Dave? What do they do to us? Again, this season, they throw a "to be continued."
What was the year? 2001? The first Lord of the Rings movie comes out. I had no idea there was books. No idea anything. I just knew there's a movie about a little short guy with a ring. And I'm watching the movie, and all of a sudden I'm like, "Oh, shit, there's only got to be like 20 minutes left in this movie. There's no fucking way they're getting to Mordor and destroy this ring. Oh, shit, this is going to be a sequel. Oh, damn it. I'm not going to be able to see what's going to happen next." And there's nothing worse than that feeling of realizing you're not going to find out what's going to happen. But luckily, I don't have to wait 2 years. I get to see it next week.
Wasn't this episode full of shit? I said, like, last episode we were recording, I was like, "Oh, I almost lost my voice." It's because I was pissed that night. Before I recorded with you, I'm like, "What the fuck?" And I just went off and shit. And DJ Mad and Nice is like, "Calm down, man." I'm like, "Fuck you. You're not even on the show anymore."
He's on injured reserve.
He's not fucking injured. He's
He
fine
had
now.
pneumonia, right? Or meningitis or something?
Yeah, he did. That piece of shit. Now he's perfectly healthy.
Yeah, right. He didn't have anything. He
Well,
was
I mean-
fine. He had sand in his vag.
Consider this. Next episode is going to start with Wes and Teresa versus Leroy and Naya. Wes deserves better than that. If he's going to be in an elimination round, he should be at the very end of the episode. If he wins or if he loses, it shouldn't be at the very beginning of the episode.
But this could all blow up in the producers' faces. It's totally blowing up in their faces if Wes gets eliminated. Because then you just have Bananas and a bunch of followers. That's all you have. What they really needed to do was get it so you have Wes and Bananas at the end, the two rivals. But because of what they've done, what the situation they've created, is like Wes could be going home, Leroy's back, and it's not what they want. They want to make the best show possible, right? And
Precisely.
this could be fucking it up. Seriously.
Yep.
And then you're gonna the next episode is just gonna be Wes getting eliminated in the first 15 minutes. And then anything that happens from there on out, I'm just supposed to, okay, yeah. It's basically Roman Reigns in the 2015 Royal Rumble, where the final four is Reigns, Ambrose, Big Show, and Kane. And you look at Reigns versus these three other guys, and you're like, those fucking three guys don't have a fucking chance in hell. I know who's winning this.
You brought up an excellent point. How the producers might have fucked this up by not having Wes versus Bananas in the final. It's because they brought him in too early. You keep them there. Zach and Johnny, they lost that previous episode, and they would go against them. They would get defeated. Bananas and Nani go against the next losers round, which, who knows, maybe Jordan and Sarah would win, and then they would throw in Wes and Teresa, and then maybe Wes and Teresa would lose. Then you would for sure get Wes and Teresa versus Bananas and Nani in an exile. But you producers, you short-sighted mother, did not see that. There's plenty of podcasters that have lived and died because they did not like where the challenge was going. Plenty of them, man. You Killed It podcast. Old Man on the Mountain podcast. There's tons of podcasts that cover the challenge where they stopped podcasting because they did not like where the show was heading. And I'll be honest, I don't like where it's heading either. Who knows? Maybe I will begin and end on this season.
The way you brought it up there, it was almost like foresight to yourself, where you're just like, I'm done, I've had it, this is it. This is Vince signing off. Good day.
Should we not even cover the next episodes? Just stop right here.
Well, no, we'll do a podcast after the first 15 minutes of that episode, and then if Wes is gone, then it's like, yeah.
Being a Wes fan doesn't mean that if he's eliminated, I'm going to stop watching. Wes has endured plenty of losses over the years. I like him way more than Bananas because Bananas, it's like he never loses. He's always in the finals. Like I said, he's been in 7 finals, dude. Bananas is like Superman. And Superman is the best way to say it. He's boring, right? Nothing can hurt him except kryptonite. You know, the only person that has a smidgen of kryptonite is Wes. He wears it on a necklace or some shit.
It's the freckles.
That would make sense why Bananas hates him for being a ginger. That makes perfect sense now. Now that I think about it, it's if Lex Luthor had freckles.
Say Wes does get eliminated, Bananas goes on and wins. Like, what kind of victory is that? Where the only way you were able to win is that the producers had to come up with a way in this season so he could lose and then go against other losers and then come back. Oh, yay, congratulations, you're the best loser. That's being second place. There's no accomplishment in that. If you say, oh, you're the champ of the season, but yeah, you got eliminated, but hey, what about, say, Wes gets eliminated, and then, say, Leroy and Nia get eliminated, and then Jordan and Sarah get eliminated, and Jay and Jenna get eliminated. Well, those other teams, they lost, well, so did Bananas, but those other teams didn't get a second chance to come back. Unless the producers are absolutely brilliant, and then there's going to be a secondary losers tournament. Good God. There's no way they will do it, I mean, it would be great if they did do that, so at least then it's fair where every team has a chance at losing and then coming back.
They pulled the trigger too early, producers. Like, they knew what was going to happen. It was going to ruffle up the house. It was going to shake things up. But to me, it's just like you made a lot of fans lose faith. I'll watch the next episode. I'll podcast it. I'll see this thing through. But shit.
Yeah.
Now I ask you, how do we end this podcast? Because how do you end on a somber note like this with anger and angst and frustration and depression?
It has nothing to do with the competitors involved. It's just looking at the rules of the game that they set up. You can't set something up that way where someone has such a distinct advantage. If they would have known, hey, if you get eliminated right away, you can come back at the end. But if you did really fucking awesome and you got to the final 4 teams or 5 teams or whatever it was, then, if you get eliminated then, now you don't have another chance.
Fuck.
Alright,
yeah. Should we close this up?
Yeah.
Before I kill myself.
Don't do it. I'm hiding the ropes.
Give me that shotgun. Let me go pull the trigger. The shotgun.
That's a super soaker, bro. You're just going to get really hydrated, so have fun with that.
In closing, remember to subscribe.
Please, because if there's 1 subscriber, that means that 1 person listened to this all the way to the end. And just that knowledge would be amazing.
I am Vincent Cloud.
I'm David Lauer.
And Bun and Murray, producers of the challenge.
You done fucked up good.